I know that Commissioner Bonilla has moved forward discussion item regarding the nuisance abatement ordinance and zoning for methadone clinics. Commissioner Bonilla, you're recognized at this point.
I don't think we need to go through if this is a problem in Orange County, because I'm pretty sure that all of us have had issues in our districts regarding the nuisance properties. In District 5, we have examples of these problems, including El Ricocito Bar that was shut down. There's another bar on Oloma. There's a property near the methadone clinic where they're doing, he's allowing people to put tents in the backyard. And in Bithlo, we have another property where the owner would end up in jail and then come back with 3 people, and there'd be prostitution and drug use and everything on his property, and people living out in a shed in his backyard. Those are some examples. And the Sheriff's Department, I've been working really closely with them for the past 2 years, and they've just been expressing how limited they are on what they can do in order to solve these issues. Even the Sheriff's Department, like I said, they've identified this issue, and they're exploring lobbying the state legislators. They have HB 551 and SB 668 right now in session, and that's something that we could help lobby, and they're including in that relating to murder and attempted murder, relating to aggravated battery with the use of a deadly weapon, and relating to aggravated assault with the use of a deadly weapon are 3 suggestions that they're making for amendment of the Florida statutes. And in your packet that I had emailed out to everyone, this example from Hillsborough County, an ordinance they enacted in 2010. They actually enacted the ordinance in 1999, the same as Orange County. And the Florida statute started the nuisance abatement in 1995, and many counties adopted it in 1999. And after that, a lot of counties and cities have went ahead and added on to their nuisance abatement ordinance to cover other provisions, including Hillsborough, Miami-Dade, Brevard, Lake Worth Beach City, and Miami City. Miami-Dade was actually challenged in their expanded ordinance, and Miami-Dade won. And when we met with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, he told me this was new information for him. Before that, he didn't realize that other counties had went ahead and added on to that ordinance. He didn't think that was allowed. So I want to make this clear that the nuisance abatement process is thorough and provides nuisance property owners ample chances to be able to correct their violations. And my ask today is a couple. One is that I would like for Kelly Teague to give us an update on April 23rd BCC meeting on the legislation currently being considered this session relating to the nuisance abatement. And I got a lot of, the sheriff's office, the sheriffs were really excited about doing this, and one of them stated that this would be a game changer. And the attorney had suggested a work group between the sheriff's office and the county to be able to get together and discuss what options we have. And so I would like to see if we could put together a work group between the sheriff's office and the county to see what our options are and how we can make this better for Orange County so that we can make sure that criminals know that Orange County is not the place for these activities. And it looks like it's worked out for Hillsborough County, and it's worked out for Miami-Dade, and things have been cleaning up over the last several years, and I believe it may have to do with their nuisance abatement extensions that they've made.
Touch base with Miami-Dade County. We're going to also talk to Hillsborough County, and we'll have discussions with the sheriff's office. Understand it was the sheriff's office in Hillsborough County that came forward to advise the Board of County Commissioners that there had been some amendments to Chapter 893, which they believe enabled them to go forward and then amend the county ordinance. So we'll find out from them whether or not we're all on the same page in terms of believing that those categories cannot be expanded unless there's legislative enactment. I suspect what has occurred is that the particular provisions that are mentioned in 893 have subsets to them, and what has occurred in that what has happened with Hillsborough is that it has simply added on those subsets to the categories that are mentioned there in Chapter 893, which may or may not be permissible. It's not an issue that I've looked at.
Yeah, and what you're saying is likely consistent with existing law,
Exactly.
not related to what may be pending in the legislature at this time.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
All right, thank you. I look forward to learning more about what you discover. With the methadone clinic, so this issue, I mean, you heard from the citizens what the issues are going on, and I would like to suggest perhaps looking at the zoning and seeing what we could do, and adding, like we do with alcohol packaging and schools and churches, that we have perhaps a distance from residents or residential areas from methadone clinics. If we could look into that and see what we can do. I believe there would have to be some research on that as well, see what options we have.
Okay. We certainly can look into some of the zoning related issues. The clinics certainly have to operate. They will be in our county. The question is, where can they be located? And I clearly understand what you're saying. Is there a possibility to include some type of distance requirement from residential properties or the like? And again, that's a question about, it's a legal issue, it's a zoning issue, it's a right to commerce once you have established your business. And so it's some multiple issues there that create some complexities for us as a county to deal with.
Mayor, we'll take a look at the issue. As you've already mentioned, it can be somewhat problematic with respect to businesses that currently exist. And we'll get together with zoning and try to figure out if there's anything that we may be able to do to help resolve the issue as it exists with respect to the methadone clinic that was mentioned this morning.
In regards to alcoholic beverages, Chapter 4, Article 1, one of the suggestions from the sheriffs that I got was add a requirement for owner or key holder on site, or result in a fine to the owner. So they would enter the bar and then no one there was the owner, no one there worked there, and they would have that issue. They didn't know who to fine or who to charge, because they would say, oh, I don't work here. And so there are other issues with the alcoholic beverages ordinance and the noise ordinance as well, that if we could look at those and see what we can do to, I'm looking to solve the problems that we have with El Reconcito, give the sheriffs more ability to be able to do their jobs and to hopefully discourage this type of behavior in bars in Orange County that are doing criminal activities or serving stuff they shouldn't be serving, including drugs in their bars and prostitution, all those other activities.
Duly noted, Commissioner. We will receive it as information at this time. This is part of the much work that we have to do going forward. I drive as well as the tourists and other visitors, and so again, we're early in the conversation, and we'll figure it all out where we all kind of come together mutually. Commissioner Bonilla.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a great presentation, and you always do such an awesome job on it when you come to us in the iDrive projects here. My question has to do with the residential. I know it's really important to have people living close to work. I mean, I have people working in Disney living in Bithlo, which is quite a drive. So I feel it's really important for the mixed income to be included in this. But I'm curious what could happen in the future with iDrive if investors feel that residential is more profitable and then they start taking over the other entertainment businesses. Is that something that could possibly happen in the future to iDrive if we bring in residential more?
Well, the market conditions drive development. I think that the residential land use opportunity to be part of the mix is what really has some of the major transformational metropolis within the United States, such as what Atlanta is doing, Denver, even downtown Orlando. You know, when you look at the transformation in terms of ownership, character, and eyes on the street to move away from illegal activities, it is part of the residential land use that takes place. It's part of a renaissance vibrancy comes along with that. So I think there's quite a bit of investment that takes place that is extremely valuable to the specific transit zones, such as theme parks and other levels of different uses that, you know, I mentioned $2 million to $4 to $8 million per acre. That's something that will have to be extremely evaluated and highly incentivized with, you know, affordable or housing affordability solutions moving forward in order to allow for this residential use to take place. But what we have done is opening the district app for areas that is currently not allowed in order for that to take place, market-based.
Bonilla.
Yes, I was looking at the map here, and I thought I saw a slide that showed where the other two schools were, and I'm looking for that. Because I was just looking at where the majority of the houses are in relation to where they want to put the new school. And where the other schools are, it looks like it's in areas that are more dense. And I was just thinking, as a parent, I'd want the school to be on my way to either the other schools that my kids are going to or to work. And it just seems more appropriate for a school to be in an area that's more dense. And it just seems like where the majority of these homes are, people will actually be driving out of their way in order to get to this preschool. And compared to the other two schools, which are in more dense areas, this area is way more rural. That's my observation.
But I would tell you that I don't think it's appropriate in this particular area. I don't think it's compatible with the surrounding area. So having said that, I will make a motion that we deny the applicant's request.
Second, Bonilla.
There's a motion for denial by Commissioner Vanderlei, second by Commissioner Bonilla. Further discussion?
I guess I come to this looking at, staff looked at the compatibility, and they approved of it, and it went through P&Z, and it only had one against. And I do find it very compelling that you're in between two elementary schools, and I do look at the issue of how difficult it is to get daycare for children.
If I might comment on that.
Additional comment by Commissioner Vanderlei.
Thank you. One of the things I asked staff to find for me was where the students live that are attending those two elementary schools, because my suspicion was, as a lot of the folks have talked about, that this particular neighborhood is an aging neighborhood. And what I found from the student count of where the students are coming from these two elementaries, is there's basically a donut hole right where this proposed project is, where there's an extremely low student generation ratio in this area. So the kids that are going to those two elementary schools are not living here. And the net result of that would be that it would have people driving to this location that aren't currently on their way to either of those schools to drop a child off. So it would be out of that area.
Commissioner Bonilla.
Planning, you have four possible situations. You have bad location, bad project, good location, bad project, bad location, good project, good location, good project. In this situation, we have a great project, but it's a bad location.
We do have a motion on the floor. It's been second. I'm going to say all those in favor of the denial, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.